You're listening to the Welcome to the Rebellion podcast. Hey, Jay, are you ready? 'Cause it's time to start the show.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for being here. This is a special live stream. This is a podcast live stream. That's what this channel was originally intended for. And got a very special guest. And if you're watching this a year from now, 2 years, 6 months, be like, why are you dressed this way, Jay? Well, we've recorded this on December 24th. It's Christmas Eve. Look at that. My backdrop's messed up. Hold on. And just so you know, this is how we do this. This podcast will be flipped to members. I'm going to edit it down. I'll probably edit this part out, all this stuff. And then the edited version will be uploaded to the channel, while the live version, we don't know what's going to happen live. I don't know how it's going to work out. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what things are going to be said? That will stay for members only. The edited version will be for Apple Podcasts, Spotify. So if you have those and you like listening, the Welcome to Rebellion podcast is over there, everywhere you listen to podcasts. So go check it out. Links are everywhere. Just find my Linktree. But today I have a special guest. My man, the Dinosaur Man, is here. Some of you are like, who the heck is that? Well, he is the gentleman that drew Achromatic Chronicles green. And as long as I don't scare him off, he'll be drawing the rest of the series. Also, soon, it'll be me and X-Wing and Erik, the person you're about to meet. We're going to do another podcast, probably on the Pirate Channel, because Erik is also drawing The Daughter's Revenge. And you might be like, Jay, what the heck is that? Well, here's just a little teaser before I bring him out of The Daughter's Revenge. So I'm pretty awesome. Will you welcome everyone? The Dinosaur Man himself. Oh, I added you, but I hit the wrong button. There we go. Professional podcast over here. Professional podcast, you know. And look at that. Hi, Jay. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. If you have any super chats or whatever you want to give, I appreciate it. We're going to answer it kind of like in a block, so we can do all the edits and everything. So, of all days to do the podcast, we did it on Christmas Eve. How you feeling, good sir?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
I'm glad it finally made this happen. I know I was like, Erik, I need you on the podcast. And you're like, I'm waiting for you.
Yeah, that was back in like August.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Well, do us a favor before we begin. Who the heck are you? And what do you do?
Well, I'm a poor, unfortunate soul who really loves drawing comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much been the only thing I've ever wanted to do. I have this compulsive ADHD brain that's constantly telling stories that I can't even write down because, well, it's hard to write. But yeah, anyway, I've been kicking the can around for, gosh, since 2005. That's when I published my very first self-published comic. And yeah, I just can't give up the drug.
No, man. But you have such an incredible story, and I'm so glad that you're part of everything that I'm doing, that all of us are doing, because just to give people a little background, I did the first book, Achromatic Chronicles Blue. My artist lived in Hawaii, or she still lives in Hawaii. And I asked her to do the second book, and she's like, I don't know if I can, Jay, because I got this job now, taking up a lot of time, this and that. And she goes, it might be in your best interest to find another artist. So I was like, okay, I get it. And I was like, you know what? I want to find somebody that fits the crazy crew that I have around me. I need to find someone that's just as bizarre and weird as me. And I was looking around at a lot of campaigns and I came across this one right here. This is the Little
No,
Mermaid.
there she is.
Yeah. And congratulations on your success. And look, I see Joan, look at that, with a $50 donation. Best to you, Jay. Joan, holy crap. Thank you so much for the super chat love. Best to you as well. Very generous. Thank you. My goodness. Yellow Flash is here. He loves to talk comics. You know that. So we saw I saw this campaign and it was this cover right here. I don't know, there's a couple things that stood out to me on this cover.
Only a couple.
So I was like, I think I went to this campaign. I bought this cover. So I supported the campaign and then I found your name, Erik Hodson. I was like, okay. And then, I of course I scrolled through the campaign and real quick, if you're still interested, this book is still available, correct?
Correct. We're closing this Fund My Comic campaign down at the end of the year, the stroke of midnight.
December 31st. So if you want to purchase this book and support Erik and others, the link is in the description. Click on his Linktree. That's there. Everything is there. His Twitter, Instagram, YouTube channel, other projects, things that he's done. It's right there in the Linktree. And also this campaign. So you can pick it up. You can pick it up over there. So and so I saw this and I believe I sent did I send you I followed you on Twitter and I sent you a DM. Kind of
Yeah.
like I tried to be all professional. Hello. I'm an up and coming person looking for a comic artist and I was just curious what you charge. It was something like that, I think. Something really stupid. And I didn't hear back. And then all of a sudden, you drew the cover of Achromatic Chronicles green.
Well, I do remember you asking if I would do a sample.
That's
So,
what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. But you drew green, and I was like, okay, you're hired. I was like, where's the contract at? Like, let's get this thing that like this is. I don't even think. Did you even make any changes to the cover? Like
I had to
the one
rebuild it
that you
from
sent me.
scratch. Well, I had to rebuild it from scratch because you didn't have any of the production files from the previous artist.
Yeah.
So I remade the logo entirely and then drew the cover based on the previous cover, the same kind of posing and whatnot. But yeah, just kind of like deconstructed it, reconstructed it.
Yeah, and I'm a terrible person because you're like, "Hey, can I get this? Can I get that?" I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So, like,
Here's a
can I get
PDF.
like can I get the previous artist's work here and there? And I'm like, I don't know. It's here on a file. Good luck. I was like, terrible.
What font is this? I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know anything about that. You're the professional. You're supposed to do this, but there's something I'd love for you to share because I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to this book. Is this shipping next year?
Yeah, we'll be shipping next year. We had some hiccups and had to change colorists as well. So things taking longer than we wanted and I should be done drawing it by the end of January. And then we'll go right into fulfillment pretty quickly afterwards.
So the crazy thing is, I originally was looking for an artist for the pirate book, and then it was like, well, if you could do both, and this when I saw this work here with the shark and the ships and everything, I was like, oh man, I think Erik would be perfect for what we're looking for. And I talked with Russ, who's in the chat now, and I said, well, I'll search for artists. Anyway, the rest is history. But when we got to, we got to talking on the phone and everything, you shared with me your story, which I think is awesome. Do you mind sharing a little bit as to why your voice is a little raspy and
Not
like,
at all,
all
not at
that
all.
stuff? This is after I heard this, I said, "Hey man, as long you stick with me for as long as you want, because like I'm hitching my wagon to your art, and I love the story. I love what God has done in your life, like all that stuff. I love it. And all right, I'm gonna shut up and let you talk now. It's pretty awesome.
So we'll take the Wayback Machine and go all the way to 1997 when I was just starting in art school and had this glorious dream of becoming a professional special effects artist or getting into game design. The school I went to didn't really have its act together in that department. It was all still pretty new back then. And I just kind of focused on illustration and my love for comics once I kind of read the writing on the wall. Anyway, I started getting sick. I remember my hands changing color. They turned like a really deep purple. No smoke on the water, just color. And anyway, it scared me to death to the point where just I didn't have insurance. I didn't have a doctor. I'm living in a completely different state from my parents. I'm my own support structure at this point, and I had no idea what was going on. My hands would just get super cold. And about a year or two later, I started getting sores on my fingers. And about the same time I got married, this would be about 2003, my joints started to stiffen up. And basically my hands turned to stone. This is my range of mobility here. They kind of curled up within a year and a half after getting married. And I found myself like literally crying out to God, please don't take my hands, because all I know how to do is draw. And he took my hands and made me a better artist after the fact. It's like, I'll show you what I can do. I'll take these away from you. And so with my voice, during this whole transition period from the onset to finally getting a diagnosis 3.5 years later, I did a lot of vomiting because my body was like rejecting food and I couldn't digest. When I graduated high school, I was over 300 pounds. By the time I was done with college, I'd gotten down to 175. Everybody thought I had like bulimia or something. I was ecstatic because I could fit a size 32 jeans. I went and bought like a $70 pair of Luckies just to celebrate. But yeah, all of the vomiting gave me permanently bowed vocal cords, which gave me this, old lady grandma from Hollywood, sugar I've been smoking since I was 4 years old. Kind of a raspy voice. I had a beautiful singing voice beforehand, so you lose one thing to gain another, I guess. And yeah, kind of the rest is history. It's been a process of me learning to be adjusted to this disability. It's been almost 20 years now since the onset, maybe a little over. I don't know. You get older, you lose track of time.
Yeah.
And hey, here I am making comics with a famous YouTuber.
Who's that? I love the fact, well, let me ask you this before I make a statement. Was it like, I'm sure you went through times where you just wanted to quit and just, how, like I don't know how, like the dream that I have in drawing comics, forget about it, let's do something else or anything like that. Like, was it a whole adjustment period of like how to hold the pens, how to do all that kind of stuff? Like, how long did that take you to actually be like, no, I could still do this? Like, I could still do this.
I never stopped. So I have a distinct core memory of I'm working with this rudimentary tablet before you could draw on screen, that my friend let me borrow. And I remember noticing my thumb didn't bend anymore. That was the first time I kind of realized. And by the time the next year and a half had been over with, my hand started curling up and I was married. So there was all this stuff going on at once. Kicked out of my house because I was dirt poor. I had like a $300 car with a hornet's nest living in the gas tank at the time. My poor wife to be was supporting me a little bit. This one room in the middle of the hood that I rented from a Korean guy going to college at Wayne State. And my whole life was just this crazy conundrum of like squalor and unknown and just like, what are we going to do? And then, God was there the whole time, found me a really good woman. We got married. We got an apartment together. And she had come from a tragic background as well. Her brother had passed away at the age of 16 from another horrible condition. And she was 11 at the time. And so she kind of got in her head a long time ago that if she was going to get married, it'd probably be somebody who was sick like her brother, or, that might be the only type of person that she could understand. So really, there was never a problem between her and I with this. She was more than adaptable to it. And we've been together for 21 years. So thankful for that.
The reason why I wanted you to bring it up is simply because I hope it inspires others, like, never to give up, like never, especially when you have a dream, some obstacles will come. I think the biggest thing for a lot of people's obstacles is not having to readjust like the way they do things, like you said with your hands, but it's like mostly like fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
If I go through this, but having, I remember I remember the first time you told me that story, and it was just like, as soon as I hung up, I told everyone in my circle, I was like, I found the guy and he ain't going anywhere. He's stuck with me and he doesn't understand what kind of crazy roller coaster he's about to be on in this world of mine. And it's been a crazy ride so far, huh?
It's been a blast. And honestly, it's one of those situations where you look back and you're like, oh, I can see all the pieces falling together now.
Yeah. I mean, you drew this one just recently. I have to share this because I love this picture when you showed it to me. This is the Fortuna Horseman crossover, the Rippaverse Achromatic Chronicles crossover, celebrating a snowball fight, And if you've read The Horseman, you're kind of like, man, he could just turn around and just mess up Fortuna, but maybe she's got some special powers there with Green that he can't touch her. You have to buy the book and find out. You have to get the book and find out. So, like, I thought this was
Fortuna is a gem of a character. So if anybody could find a soft spot on the Horseman, it would be her.
Yes, 100%. And you captured her so well. Like every time you would send me things, and I'm just like, perfect. I'm probably one of the easiest persons to work with because I just loved. I have this. Here, I'm getting ahead of myself. I love when artists do their thing. I never was. I know there are people out there that like, all right, I've got a vision and it's got to look exactly like this to a T. And if it doesn't look like this, I have a problem. I'm more of just like, of course I want it to be like what the vision is, but it was like, I love like some of the liberties, that you took. I mean, this artwork is beautiful. I don't care what anybody says. I think it's fantastic. You captured the story, especially the stuff that was in my mind, exactly how I wanted it. I remember the day that and we're gonna get into other stuff that he's done and what he's planning on doing. I remember when you sent this to me because Erik knows I'm an old pirate guy, and I'm sitting here like, he sends this to me and I'm like, oh my, this is perfect. This is Bluebeard's ship. this is perfect. I scream out loud, you know. Yeah, I know you didn't hear it, but you know, I text back like, "This is amazing, dude. I freaking love this." My mind literally goes to like models and toys and all this stuff. I was like, I just want to own that, you know. When we were talking about the pirate ship for Green, so it just was a win-win, you know, for me all around. So, what was it like working with Jay and Achromatic Chronicles, huh? Like, how did you
I
enjoy
think
the
the biggest
story?
thing,
Because all right, let me give a little context, and then we'll let him talk. I know Jay's talking a lot, but I I don't know what I'm doing. All right, imagine everyone's shock. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how this works. I have the story done, and then it's like, well, you got to get it scripted. So I'm like, okay. So my good friend Erik here is like, I know a guy. He goes, actually, I know a bunch of people. Here's all their numbers. I'm calling all of them. And they're all telling me I can get it done in about 4 years, 3 years. I can get it done in like 2 years. And I'm like, what? I can't wait that long. Like, I need this thing done in like a month. Who do I have to pay? I like whatever it is. And I was like, Erik, you got to help me out, man. I have no one that I can't find anyone to do the script. And he's like, all right, I got you. I'll take care of it. So he did it. And so from that point on, how was it like? Was it working with Green?
well, you kind of revealed a toxic trait of mine where I will just take on more responsibility because I get a clear picture in my head, like, okay, this is the way it needs to be. Fine, I'll just do it. And my wife and my friends that have helped me set up for cons, they're like, they get it after a while because they'll stand there and try to help. I'm like, no, 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 you're doing it wrong. You know, let me just go over there.
I
So
mean,
that
like
is kind of like
understanding
one
the
of my.
characters and stuff, though, like that. Is it something you enjoyed, or is it just
I
like do you
absolutely enjoy.
do you dive into these characters? What I'm saying, or is it more just let me just get what the person wants, or
No, no, nay. I would rather not work on a project than work on a project where I'm just a hired gun with no emotional investment. One of the things that you and I have really grown as friends together on is this mission to help children, to produce
yeah,
pop culture that is accessible to young ones, that families can enjoy together with their kids, that has a really strong story that the adults can enjoy and some important life lessons that kids can hang on and glean on. And we'll talk about it more in a little bit, but Dinosaur Man for me is my personal IP for that purpose. Because when I was a kid, we're both in the ballpark of the same age. Growing up Gen X, your parents are both working. You're raising
yeah,
yourself for the most part. You have your cartoons, your toys, your teeth. That is your world. That ends up becoming your moral compass. So I had, I thank God for my mom's father, my granddad. He was the biggest male role model for my life. But to supplant that, there was Optimus Prime, there was Lino, there were these virtuous characters that did what was right regardless of the circumstances. And I just don't see that for kids nowadays. In fact, there's so much more gobbledygook and shenanigans in the world to confuse children where they need a character that's like struggling but does the right thing. And so that's what Dinosaur Man is. He doesn't know if he's a man or a monster trying to be a man or a man becoming a monster. But he makes a choice to do good, to be a hero, struggles with that. But we're all
let's
making that choice every day. And so when
let's
I
talk
heard,
about Dinosaur Man. Now this,
well, no, let me finish my thought here
all right,
because
finish, finish.
when you showed me the plot for Green, I said, this is exactly the kind of projects I want to be involved with. I love these characters. I love what they're going through, what they are exploring, and what it means. And I'm a grandfather now. I have a 1-year-old granddaughter. I can't wait for her to be old enough to read this. So yes, I have an emotional investment in the story.
And I did I did ask Erik one time. I was like, "Hey, you got free time on your hand? Would you ever want to like redraw blue so we can just keep everything all connected? And you were like, I knew one day you would ask me that. I was like, not today, not today. Not today. I'm just saying, like, maybe one
We'll
day.
finish the book series and then we'll do Blue Turbo Championship Edition.
Yeah, we'll do some. we'll do something along those lines. I wanted to show. Well, the best picture I have of Dinosaur Man is on your Twitter. So I had that. Well, at least the one that I know. Now, Dinosaur Man is your personal favorite creation that one day you want to see in the hands of people. Yes.
Yes, literally. I even made an action figure.
I love it. Let the man talk, Jay. Sorry, I'm working on it.
If you bring up the Webtoon, that's where Dinosaur Man lives right now on Webtoon and Global Comics and Tapas. That's kind of where I started because it's the most accessible for people.
Now,
So
explain Webtoon for people that don't know what that. Here it is here.
Webtoon is online digital comics that are basically laid out in a format that we're already used to vertically scrolling through our X feed, through Facebook. It's reading a comic in the same fashion. And as we've talked before in the past about there may be being some side adventures for other colors in the universe, this would be the platform to do it on. Because for me, I see the digital aspect of this being something that was a starting point where you can go to the print, you can go to the animated series, you can go to, but this is like a free place for people to onboard. So I have a distinct story for the Webtoon, and once that story is done, then that's where the print book stories will take off from. But it's a wonderful way of reading a comic. It's the perfect way to do it digitally.
Now is Dinosaur Man #1, is it drawn and complete? Like, is it almost ready for print, or is it going to be something different than what they would find here?
It'll be different than what you find here because I don't want to do. A lot of people have asked about, are you going to print the Webtoon? And it's like, no, I think I'll just let the Webtoon live there.
Yeah.
And do. It's like the TV show, and the print books are going to be like the movie. When we were kids, you always hope the TV show would get a movie. So it's kind of along that model.
That sounds awesome. Well, fingers crossed. We get to get you to a point where you could start Dinosaur Man #1. I know a lot of great, amazing people that would support your project wherever it may be for that comics. Let me get a couple little questions and statements. X-Wing for $5. Well, he looks so professional. I'm not used to this. He's talking about me. Thanks for the jokes. Comics Dad says, Erik, that's such an inspiring story. Bless you, brother, and keep doing your thing. You have such a gift.
Thank you.
Nagranal says, that's rough. It's awesome that you're able to keep your head up and laugh it off. That's true strength. Pretty awesome. Thank you, Nagranal. I couldn't imagine. He seems to have a great mental adjustment instead of giving up. Absolutely. Jones says, God bless you, sir. Praise the Lord. You're a beautiful survivor. X-Wing says, highlight of my life was Erik handing me a copy of Cocaine Shark. You heard that right. Cocaine Shark. And Comics Dad says, Cocaine Shark. What? Sounds like something I need to read. Tell us about Cocaine Shark.
Cocaine Shark comes free with the AR-13L Little Mermaid book. When Cocaine Bear came out, I did this as a parody to kind of get some, Twitter looks. And it's something that just had to come together because when we were writing the Mermaid story, Piper, who's the principal writer for that, she's like, we should have a Cocaine Shark character I want to put in. I'm like, wait a minute, I already drew Cocaine Shark. This is supposed to happen. So this is a freebie that comes with it. It's done in Golden Age sizing, Golden Age storytelling, which is my personal favorite when I'm collecting comics. So yeah, I mean, it's just a coke addicted shark that goes after drug dealers.
A coke addictive shark that goes after drug dealers. Now, can people pick that up if they meet you at a Comic-Con?
I printed about 50 promo copies just to see what the print quality would be like. We got one more story that we're adding for our backers, a little 4-pager. So that'll be the final print edition. This is basically a demo. So once I've sold through all my demos, once they're gone, they're gone. And then it'll just be the version that the backers have. But yeah, you always want to
But I mean,
get
even
some
in, like,
physical print
even in
if you can, to make sure everything is drawn and sized and page laid out the way that it's supposed to be.
Lulu says Erik had a great booth at Columbus. Now you do travel and go to different Comic Cons and comic conventions. What could people expect to pick up if they bump into you at a booth?
Yeah. Whenever I do shows, my principal art is anime and pro wrestling. I did the whole convention circuit pretty heavy for many years. After teaching didn't work out and a few other jobs didn't work out, I got into the fan art game reluctantly. I never wanted to do that in the beginning, but you come to this impasse, like, how do I make a name for myself? People want to see characters they recognize. So you start doing fan art. There's a lot of great people out here that do that. The sad thing for me is when you see people who, yeah, there's some money there, so they never do anything other than that. And for me, after a while, I was starting to get such a bad taste. For that's all I was doing. I wasn't telling my stories, that I had to make the decision, you know what? I'm just going to not do as many cons. I taper back on doing the fan art. I still love anime. I still love wrestling. I'll do a few pieces here and there, but my heart wants to tell my stories. So that's what I've been focusing on ever since about middle of 2023. I only did 2 or 3 shows this year. That was it. And then next year, I'll probably only do 2 or 3 more, depending on the appearances we do for Green. Now, that's a whole different topic. But yeah, I'll throw out my booth. I'll have anime work that I do. I've worked for several voice actors, the American ones, so if they have merch at their table for their characters, I love doing that. Met a lot of really cool people that way. And since I kind of have this creative ADHD, I work in multiple styles. So the style for Green is more of a softer, cartoony style. Somewhere in the middle is Dinosaur Man style. And then for Merkmaid and Pirates, that's more of the brushwork, detailed, more adult style, I guess you could say. And I kind of bounce around. Like, I'll see how somebody draws. Like, can I do it that way? Can I try that? Which is good and bad because I like having the flexibility, but I always feel like I don't have a signature style that people can look at and know, oh, hey, that's Rob Liefeld or that's Bob Layton, because they draw the same way all the time. I kind of wish I could do that, but it just doesn't work out.
Joan for 10 says pro wrestling. Interested.
Yeah, you click my Linktree, you go to buy prints, you'll see all the wrestling prints. What I was doing was taking classic comic book covers like Hulk 181, but making it the Incredible Hulk Hogan 181 with Andre the Giant and all the other
everything is
characters.
there at his Linktree for things that you can pick up. So, and look at the old NWO, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I love that classic comic book design. And
oh my God, yeah. Silver Age and Bronze Age had some iconic covers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're a comic person yourself, though.
Yeah.
You like collecting a couple comics here and there. Do you have a?
Yeah, got some mistakes behind me here, but
which one is your favorite on the wall back there?
Oh my gosh! Well, that
I mean,
one
I know what it is, but the people need to see. Look at this.
This is Exciting Comics number 60. It is a shark cover. It's one of only 4 7.0s on the census.
Woo!
There's not very many higher grade. There's a few there's 198, I think, or a 96, a 92, a few 8s, but yeah, there's only 4 7s. And this is Alex Schomburg, who was a prolific artist in the golden age. Like he did Captain America, Marvel Mystery Comics, The Human Torch, all those crazy covers. That was Schomburg. He had another style, which was his airbrush pinup style. And he largely, like this one is, his name is backwards in the bottom corner, Zila, instead of Alex, because he was double dipping on all the companies. So he used a completely different name for these airbrush covers. And of course, I'm a big shark guy. Top of my bucket list is to go cage diving. So you got the Jungle Girl, the shark, the beautiful airbrush art. I love this stuff. This schlock.
A strong, powerful woman, and nobody cried about it. You know.
Yeah, like, this is from 1948.
Yes.
Good grief.
That's pretty awesome. You also like Iron Man too.
Yes, this one is very close to my heart.
Don't you drop anything live, or I'll, you know. Look at this beauty right here.
So Iron Man's always been my guy, especially Marvel Universe. I loved the idea as a kid of having a pseudo armor you could hide in, and it would make you stronger because I was a fat kid getting picked on. So if I could hide and go kick some bullies' butts, all the more better. So that's kind of why the character first appealed to me. I met an interesting human being in 2022 by the name of Darren Watts, who had inherited a comic book collection of substance, like 300,000 books, 500,000 baseball cards, a plethora of other stuff. The collection that he inherited, his father had accumulated, and it destroyed their family because the guy was crazy. Filled the house with just boxes and boxes of comics, not bagged and boarded, not graded, just loose in stacks. And yeah, like the hoarders mentality, destroyed the family. They got a divorce. Darren's took charge and just like took care of his father as best he could. He was always the go-to person, took care of his mom. A lot of trauma there. And there's a movie about it called Selling Superman that kind of touches on that. When I went in to meet him, he was going to hire me to do some artwork for him. He asked me who my guy is. I tell him, and he hands me this, and he says, "Here, this is yours. You're part of the family now." So I'm like bawling my eyes out because this is the first time someone's ever been that generous to me. And I ended up drawing the private label that's on most of the book collection for CGC. Jay's got a Star Wars 9.6 with the label on the back there. And yeah, so that's been a remarkable part of my life story where somebody's come into my life that's definitely helped me out, but given me an opportunity to help them as well. And when there's that kind of mutual respect and admiration for what each other brings to the table, just like I have with you, Jay, those are the situations that I want to be in. And I built the website for the collection that we're trying to sell off. Starting next year, we haven't made the official announcement yet, but all profits for selling books on the website are going to charity in next year. And
all right, I'm gonna pull that up.
Movie's doing great. You guys got to watch it and check it out.
Yeah, we're gonna pull all that up real quick. Please don't drop that comic. You know how I am. X-Wing for $10. Erik is such a humble artist. He says, I don't have a signature style. From someone who loves his work, the truth is he can draw anything in any style. That's look at X-Wing with the love. Wicked Virtue, thank you for the YouTube raid. Welcome all you raiders over here, hanging out. We just talking little comics, little Achromatic Chronicles and stuff. Thank you. She says, Merry Christmas. Freddie says, Merry Christmas, Jay. Thanks for being awesome. Nah, Freddie, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. And I'm going to pull up the Fantast website. Let's see if I have it here. And then you guys are going to, before we end the stream, you guys are going to get a little sneak peek of Daughter's Revenge. So, I can't say it. I know what you mean. For two says, welcome to the most generous community I know. Yeah, there's nothing like it. Nothing like it in the world. Thank you guys so much. Oh, quick question before we continue from Comics Dad. Erik, will you be at a con in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland coming up?
I don't have anything scheduled. I kind of have an open invitation for Steel City. So if I can make Steel City work next year once, I might do that. So that'd be in Pittsburgh. So
make sure you follow Dreaded Dinosaur on Twitter or Instagram, wherever you prefer your social media, and he will constantly post where he's going to be at and what he's going to do. So this is the movie that is available on Amazon, Apple TV, or Google Play. I've seen the film. Darren, I got the opportunity to go to Detroit and meet Darren and put my fingers through his entire collection. I was scared to death. Erik will tell you, like, they're like, hey, go grab the $3.7 million, whatever comic book, the Superman, and hold it, Jay. And I'm like, I don't want to touch that. All I know is, like, I feel like I just drop it, you know? So he let me hold it for like 5 seconds, and then I put it down quick. And I was like looking at Erik. We had all the ones that I wanted to take home, the ones that I wanted to steal. Blade #1, first appearance of Spider-Man. I think the X-Men #1 was there. And I was just like, I was like, Erik, can you put these back? I don't want to touch them anymore. I'm like, I started to get nervous and sweaty. Like all I need to do is drop one of these comics that are worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the documentary is there. It's called Selling Superman. It is also in Erik's Linktree. If you click on that, it'll take you over there as well. Casey for $10 says, "Hail Erik, it's been nice to hear your story. Can't wait for 2025. Vindicta." Okay. We're gonna get to Vindicta real soon, but Casey is one of the people that got a tattoo of the artwork from Daughter's Revenge. We have a ton of people that are getting this tattoo of your artwork, So it's like, how does that feel to know that people are tattooing their body with your artwork?
It's very surreal. It definitely raises the bar. Is like, okay, I got to impress these people. I don't want them to think they wasted their money and their skin. So I'm very happy to say that you're all going to get drawn in the book. So
we're working on it. We're gonna have to get like some facial pictures and stuff like that for all the people that got the tattoo. So this is let me explain this. This is the website, and I am actually happy that I'm going to be a part of this, and we're going to start selling these books. And I'll have a code, and I'll have a link, and I'll have all that stuff. And I'm going to start pushing this next year for those that like to collect classic comic books. I've seen this collection. Most of these books are in like unbelievable shape. A lot of them come with a special logo that will be on there forever. That was created. This is the logo here. That's in the CGC comic, which I don't know if that's the first time they've ever done something like that.
Yeah. So this is called a provenance label. CGC invented it just because of this collection. There's been 2 other collections that have gotten the provenance label since that, but it's for inheritances. And so what I did was I tried to illustrate. Darren brought me in. He started telling me all this iconography, things about his dad being a lawyer in Michigan, undiagnosed Asperger's, feeling like the comic collection was an open pit. This story about him and his brother at Christmas that was really touching. So there's a lot of little themes, and that's what became the label artwork. The whole story of the label is in the film, and it's pretty fascinating. And he was very pleased with how it came out, and it starts with a cosmic cube, which was kind of his Dale Watts, his father, his idea of like, okay, this can give you whatever powers you want. How can anybody beat this? So that started the obsession. And he started as being obsessed with superheroes and comics, saw that they had value, could be optioned for movies. So he just started amassing books. He'd go into a store, Ghost Rider one's on sale for 30 cents cover price. He'd buy 30 of them instead of buying one, and then just put them in a box, and they would sit there for 40 years. It's crazy.
the collection is worth millions. So um we are going to start selling some of these graded pop culture treasures. And like you said, the money generated is going to go to charity.
Yep.
So if you are looking for a classic comic book, something that, that you are interested in, going to buy something. Some of them will have the fan cast label, which says selling Superman on it on a Marvel. I think that's awesome. There are people out there that cry and complain. They don't want that. They don't want a special label on the CGC. I prefer it because I think it makes it more unique. Even though there's people out there like, oh, I don't want it. I don't want it's whatever. Then buy something else. So we
You
will.
gotta watch. You gotta watch the film because the story of the film is
Yeah.
more than just about the comic collection.
Yeah.
And once a lot of people who have seen the film are the ones who are coming to us. They want the label. They want the book. They want that little bit of attachment to a story that pulled at their heartstrings that they identify with, because we all have issues with our parents at some point.
Yeah.
God bless you if you never had this problem, never had any sort of childhood trauma, but there's a lot of us who have. And collecting is kind of one of those things we do to cope with it. It really is.
100%. I would tell the story on the newsstand editions were always special to me, and people are like, "What do you care about the newsstand editions?" Because when I was allowed to collect comic books, my dad, we would go. There was a 7-Eleven near our house, and my dad was just like, um, you can only here's $1, go buy a comic book. And if you understand how that works, if you buy it from a 7-Eleven or even a grocery store or even a newsstand, they had a different label on the bottom and they called it the newsstand edition. When you buy in a comic shop, a lot of the time, well, I did a lot of Marvel stuff. They usually had like a picture of Spider-Man or something. Not too much for these older books, maybe, but like when I was collecting, I always looked for the newsstand just because of that personal memory of the comics that I had. So, are we allowed to share? Like, are you allowed to share about like me getting a link and all that and selling this stuff? Like, are we
Yeah,
allowed to talk
no,
about it? Even though I
you got
talked about it just a
your,
little bit. So,
yeah, no, we've got you on as an affiliate, and you'll get
hey,
all the fun perks that come with that, and you'll have your own special link. Any of your fans, any of your followers that want to buy from us, do it through your link, please, because as we said earlier, the all the profits are definitely going to
yeah,
charities.
we're gonna raise a lot of
So
money for charity through this. It's gonna be incredible. So, post a link to that shop site. Okay, for the 5th time, X-Wing, I know you're excited. If you go to if you go to the description in this live stream, you go to his link tree and it'll be right here. Correct? Oh no, that's the documentary. Well, you could find the store from there. Selling Superman. All there. Go to his link tree and find it there. If not, he'll put it up later. It'll be on his link tree.
yeah, I'll
So
add some
there
more
it is.
links to it.
Yeah, yeah. So don't be spending money right now. He says instructions unclear, being audited by the I. All right, maybe you shouldn't be worried about buying comics at this present time. So, but I will have all that stuff. I'm looking forward to promoting this and getting that out there to my audience, especially comic book collectors that want to be a part of it. So I do too. I recommend watching the documentary. I watched it on Amazon. It's incredible. It's incredible. And then having the opportunity to go up there and talk with Darren and Erik and sitting in those comics. I recorded a video that'll be up a little bit later. Um, of course, I hit the mute button by accident while I'm doing this interview. So yeah, I will have my own personal video of of me and Erik going up there and going through all these boxes. It's going to be unbelievable. So I know like Yellow Flash when he was in the chat and others, I could have sat it. I don't know how Erik does it every day. I could have just sat there for a week, just shove some like bread under the door. I would have been, I would have been fine. But my one of my Star Wars #1 is from Fancast, so it's pretty awesome. Absolutely awesome. Now with all that stuff out of the way, 2025. So we got Achromatic Chronicles Green that you finished up, and you're getting a crazy fan base from all my crazy fans and followers and everything going over there.
Love you.
Year 2025 is the year of the pirate, Vindicta. X-Wing put together an amazing story. Together, we worked together on this whole thing, inspired by the horrific film Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Jonathan Reed, the pirate. And you guys are going to get a quick tease of one of the covers. Just a quick tease. Erik already spoiled the surprise for the tattoo people, which is fine. And then we're going to do something special, but they're not all in here, so maybe they don't see. So this is coming hopefully next year.
Woo.
The Jolly Roger. I remember we sent. So, all right, hold on. Let me tell this story. Me and X-Wing put together this Jolly Roger. We're like, oh man, this is the coolest thing ever, right? X-Wing designed it on, I don't know what program. He put it all together and he's like, oh, this Jolly Roger is awesome. It's a Jolly Roger with the crown of thorns. You'll understand the story when you read it, when you'll understand why that is. I send this busted up looking Jolly Roger to Erik. And I was like, hey, is there anything you could do to like just make it look a little more official? He comes back with this design. X-Wing sends me a text like, holy crap. Like, I couldn't believe how good it looks. And now that design is going to be on shirts. It's going to be on hats. 9-Line Apparel is going to be dropping a very special hat and shirt combo, I think in February. They only have a few hundred that they're going to print. Once they're gone forever. That shirt, if you buy that shirt, helps veterans. It's going to be incredible. We already have a giant waiting list. X-Wing is is forging pirate swords for this campaign. It's going to be unlike anything that I've ever been a part of. And this is very important. I want to share this. If you are very interested in this story, if you're interested in some of the stuff that we have extra that's coming out, this is not a kid's book, by the way. You need to go to this website, and I don't care if you put in a fake name. We just need your email address. I'm going to put in Billy. It says name, first, last name, email. We just need the email address because the members of the History of Pirates channel and the people on the email address will be first to know when the shirts are available, because some of the stuff that's coming out, very limited designs, very limited. Once they sold out, they're gone forever. So if you want to be first to know, that's where you gotta go. That's the best thing I could tell you. You're not gonna get any spam. You're basically gonna get an email. Hey, shirts are available. Only got a few. If you want them, get them or they're gone. Swords are available. Only got a handful. If you want them, get them now before they're gone. All that stuff. So just throwing that out there. So let me ask you something though. Erik, I'm going to take this down. That's it. No more teasers until next year. That's all you got. I got it approved by X-Wing last minute. I was like, can I show the cover just for a few seconds? All right. How does it feel to know that people are like tattooing your work? It's going to be on shirts. It's going to be in companies with like 9-Line Apparel and others. It's gotta be kind of cool, right?
It's very cool. The way my brain works, I'm like, all right, that's awesome. Now, can we do action figures?
Yeah.
Action figure statues. I mean, when you're doing this thing, you've got to have a broad scope of where this could take you. And so one of the things I love about working with you, man, is like you're tuned into that. You know, it's not just, well, we did a book, we're done with the book. There's more to it. We're building a universe here. We're building something that people are going to enjoy being a part of. And so there's so much more stuff that comes with that.
That's
Something that's going to have longevity and outlive us. That's what we want.
Yes. I think that's the coolest thing about both these projects. And I want to pull this up as well, is that I never really, and I know you feel the same way. It's like we never really wanted to create like a solo book, like, hey, we did a book, hey, we're done, let's just move on. It was more like talking about how terrible pop culture has become and how storytelling is just kind of faded. The Achromatic Chronicles series, all the conversations I have with Erik all the time, we talk about the universe. And like, also, like, if you didn't know, we started a dedicated YouTube channel. I'm not looking to get this monetized or anything like that, but we'll probably just put stuff up. So if people are like, I want to know more about the series, I'm not sending them to a drunk 3PO channel. They're going right to Achromatic Chronicles. They're going to see some of the book reviews. They're going to see what the stories are about, some of the promo stuff. Me and Erik are going to do some other recordings down the line to talk about the character developments and different character stuff like that. So it's, if you're curious about subbing to that, mods can drop that in there. It's just like it's creating an entire universe and like living in that world for some time. Like the pirate book is just one of 3 so far, and I love that you're able to take that classic comic book pirate design and like put that on paper. Like you said, it's completely different than the Achromatic Chronicles. Does it take like, can you just do it? Could you have like Achromatic Chronicles on one screen and the pirate book on the another and Dreaded Dinosaur and just be like, I could do one page here, and one page here?
I mean, yeah.
For a lot of people, that's difficult.
to a point. I mean, with drawing, most people when they try to learn to draw, because they're not able to represent what's in their head on paper accurately, they get frustrated and they never go back to it. You don't give yourself the gift of time to develop to that point. I've never been able to do hardly anything but draw. Like even when my hands were hurting, I got chronic pain in them now, but it's like, if I had to, I would duct tape the stylus with a pencil just so I could hold on to it. And, I use a lot of my arm, which is what you're supposed to anyway. But, I guess it's one of those things that's got to be in you to be crazy enough to pursue it. But, once you get to a point where you've given yourself the luxury of time, style just kind of becomes the window dressing. You're looking at the shape language. You're looking at, and when I say shape language, it's easy to see in anime. Take any of your favorite anime and look at the characters, and you'll see that there's like 3 or 4 character designs with just different colors, decorations, different hair, different voice actors, different attitudes, different costuming. But the shape languages are usually always carried over to different characters. So once you figure out a shape language for the word universe that you're using, so example, in both the Mermaid book and the Pirate book, I'm using more of a realism, less cartoony shape language, so that's different proportions. Something more akin to like a 90s book, or even some of the masters of the past, like in the Golden Age and the Silver Age, where there's a lot more brushwork. You're not making the eyes super big like in anime. Everything has rules that you follow. So once you're within those rules, then it all becomes, what style am I putting on this? How thick is this line? Am I getting it in one shot, or am I taking my time doing something slow? Does it have lots of hatching, cross hatching? Or am I just going to let the colorist figure it out? Like with Achromatic Chronicles green, it's a lot of basic shapes, and we're not deviating from basic shapes very much. So there's a lot of easy to read character designs that's done on purpose. That's why cartoons are more simplified. So it's easier to animate when you're talking cartoons, but it's also easier for younger minds to see and identify with the image and be able to read the image properly. Once you start throwing detail and stuff on it, younger minds could be a little bit harder for them. So that way, I'm not worried about cross hatching. I'm not worried about super heavy shadows because I'm doing cell shading with the black and white or the color. There's lots of choices. So it's not just, I guess from the outside observer, you're seeing an artist sit down and just do it, and it looks like it's a miracle. But there's all of this structure and process that you eventually just do only in your head, but you got to start out doing it on paper, gesture drawings, drawing simple shapes, breaking those into more complex shapes, wrapping a shape around a 3D object, but you're drawing it 2D. All of this technical stuff, you got to give yourself the luxury of time to learn it before you get to the point where it looks effortless. So yeah, I could do Dinosaur Man green, Pirates, bounce from 1 to 1 because I'm keeping those things in the back of my head. It's another reason why I start with a cover. So the cover you showed, that sets the tone for me for the entire book. Every page I do, I go back to that cover. Is this matching the tone for the book? Am I sliding into too simplified a form here? Those types of things. That's the kind of stuff that people don't see, but you really gotta appreciate it because that's part of the production.
We think, us people that have no idea how to draw, we think you guys are sitting like there's a beautiful mountainscape out, you're looking out your window, you're in a nice little rocking chair, just, you got your whole palette next to you, and you just, let me get a little green there, let me get a little purple, no problem. How do you know that? It's like, it's not like that, is it?
No, you're like, I gotta do that. Hand petting dog on Google. No. Okay, that's what that looks like.
Yeah.
You erase it a few times, start over. Sometimes you gotta give yourself a day, come back, look at a page, you're like, what the hell was I thinking? Start over.
Do you think AI is going to change the comic book industry forever?
Absolutely. When it comes to mainstream production, it'll eventually all be AI driven. What you're going to see is they will hire an artist, probably pay him a royalty to generate a bunch of work that will be fed into the AI. They'll sign off on only any legality or ownership of it. And then the AI will have its training data to produce the rest of what needs to happen. You're already seeing independent filmmakers. They don't even need a camera. They're just doing image to video or text to video, creating consistent looking characters. I mean, I get the argument against it. I don't want work taken from me or other artists, but it's a catch-22 because it's just like the Wacom tablet, the iPad, any other new technology comes around. This is a tool to utilize. If I don't learn enough to utilize it, I'm going to get left in the history books. But the one thing that AI can't do, this is what they probably will not take from us, is the story, the concept, the emotion, the heart. I don't think AI is ever going to be able to produce an image that moves somebody to tears because there's still the uncanny valley that sees that there's not a human behind that. At least I hope that's the case. But at the very least, it's like I don't have a reference for a medieval 20th century castle. I could Google for 2 hours, or I could just type a prompt, 20th century medieval castle, generate 100 images. No. Okay, I can look at that and draw from that. That's beautiful. Do that all day long.
I I think what will happen is we'll see a surge in AI books, children's books, coloring books, comic books, and then eventually it's going to get a label,
Yeah.
and then we'll have to label, because YouTube is doing that now. If you use AI in a video, they just want you to mark a box that you used AI for something. We do use AI in the History of Pirates channel to create, there wasn't no pictures back then of, Anne Bonny on a ship. And every video that we use AI, we even say it in the video. It's like, hey, obviously we used AI, and we don't try to make it like over realistic. It's more cartoony than anything. But I think it'll get like, this was drawn by a human, like it'll have that.
It'll become something special and boutique again. Like,
Yeah.
I got a lot of friends who are original art collectors. That's a huge, expensive area to get in that I don't even want to try. But it's already become so rare because most people draw digitally. You're not getting the real ink. I draw realism. I draw analog style once in a while for sketch covers, doing sketches at shows, things of that nature. But for me to just do it all traditionally and then get into the computer and then go on to the other steps, that's so much more labor involved. It just makes sense to just draw it digitally in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's already become more rare to find the original art out there. So I think what you're saying is true. And eventually the people, just like we're seeing with woke culture, people are just had enough of it.
Yes.
They want what they want. And if you're offering the alternative, hey, I drew this book entirely by hand. Oh, that's special now. I'm going to go check it out.
Before we continue, and I want to talk about the fall of modern day comics real quick. We just got a massive raid from WDW Pro. He had like over 1,000 people watching him. They decided to like hop on over here of all channels. Thank you. If you don't know what's going on, this is my podcast where I interview different people as they rebel against their fears and everything to live out their dreams. I'm with the artists of Achromatic Chronicles, Green, and others projects. This is Erik, the dreaded dinosaur. And if you're new to this channel, this is not too much pop culture. This is just the podcast recording. Why not hit that subscribe button, man? Like, come hang out. Today we're just talking about comics, but I plan to have other guests on it as well. Actually, Pro is on my list to be a guest in the near future as we talk about Disney and stuff. So if you go back, I don't know if you want, but I know X-Wing is in the chat and others. You can fill everybody in. So on what we're talking about over here, does get a little political at times, but this is where all my podcast stuff lands. Thank you for the raid, my friend. I'll text you and thank you personally. That was awesome. So, thank you all for being here, and my mods will help you out. So getting back to modern day comics, why do you think there was such a fall? Is it just because kids don't read anymore? Is it they've lost their audience? Is it the crazy woke stories, or what do you think?
Kids love graphic novels because they're buying manga like crazy. They're buying Dogman like crazy, but they're not buying Superman, Spider-Man, Batman anymore like crazy because the people making these stories, making these books, they don't care about that audience. They just don't. For the longest time now, they've been checking a box that their corporate shareholder BlackRock tells them to tick because they work for other reasons. I'm not going to get into a bunch of conspiracy stuff.
We all know.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about here. So yeah, I mean, they dumped their audience for, some of them thought a higher purpose. Some of them, most of it was probably just guaranteed money from this big, huge conglomerate. And the product doesn't matter. Who cares? We'll just slap a label on it, make Spider-Man whoever we want. Who cares? And losing the audience like that, I mean, these are characters that people cherish. So If they can't enjoy what they cherished for the longest time, Star Wars, where are they going to go? They need someplace to go.
That's the
And they're
thing
going to
is,
manga.
I think the fall of like a lot of pop culture and comic books has triggered a different type of renaissance for people to go out and be creative and create their own worlds, knowing that it won't be messed up and it'll be what they want. And I love seeing it. But it's for me, when I collected comic books, I wanted characters that weren't like me.
Right?
Like I wanted something, you know, like I wanted, I don't want to see myself on there. I got problems, man. I want to see heroes.
I don't want to see Spider-Man with a bunch of crippled up hands, okay? I have them already. They're not fun. Let's not put Peter Parker in that position.
I mean, when this comic book drops, right? Let me see if I can get, yeah, here we go. No offense to anyone, like some people might love this and that's totally fine. When it was Spider-Man in a wheelchair with a pride flag and they used the web, I wish this was fake, right? So, and they used the web with crutches because they wanted to show that people with disabilities were seen. And it's like, it's just what you just said. I don't want to see someone it's, you know, I'm like, I don't understand this, you know. It's like I wanted to see superheroes save the day. I wanted to see anti-heroes. I wanted to see all that stuff. And that's what I loved. One of my favorite comic book heroes is the Punisher. I collected every single one of the Indiana Jones comic books from 1 all the way on. Pirates of Dark Water was one of my all-time favorite. That goes so, like, not too many people know about that. And I collected a lot of Marvel. I have Secret Wars. I'm literally looking at Secret Wars right here. And now I'm all about I'm all about the Transformers Skybound. This is the volume 1. This has been some of the greatest, and they wonder why like this is like top of the charts selling.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that series. If you have not read the Skybound Transformers, pick it up. Please pick it up because I was skeptical
I'm getting ready to go
it.
through Duke.
I still haven't read Duke. I need to read Duke.
Hey, listen, I'm going to be doing a live stream on my basement channel where this guy has put together mini movies from the Transformers Skybound, and they are so good. They're like 3 hours long. I'll show you. If you wanted to join at any point, I'll throw you the link. You can come watch, and I'm just going to react to it because it's so freaking good. So, you know, X-Wing says Jay was an early supporter of gay wheelchair Spider-Man. That's all I'm saying. When you look at this image, you talk about checking a box. It's like woman, gay, I don't know, wheelchair. It's everything in one and you're just like, there's no heart in that anymore, you know. It's more like let's just make
there's a certain level of absurdity there,
right?
Now, if I was given this task to do this, what's missing from this is the struggle is not there. A lot of this storytelling that I've read, it comes super easy for the disenfranchised person to. There's no struggle. There's no nothing there. If I was going to deal with a character who was disabled, I would want to show the stuff that I go through, where it's like, I'm learning to overcome this in some fashion. There's a struggle there. I'm falling down and getting hurt, getting back up again. The thing that's the insult to me is when I see it's so effortless. You know, it's like every character is a Mary Sue.
Yes.
Regardless of what is wrong with them or different about them, they're just all turned into Mary Sue's. Like, what's Moon Girl's the smartest girl in the Marvel Universe now? Huh?
Yeah. Hey, they did that to Star Wars with Rey Skywalker. She just stole the name, more powerful than anyone. She's a Palpatine on top of it. She needs all this stuff. And they wonder why people are bored and they walk away. Let me grab some stuff real quick. You also have some questions. So we're hitting that over that hour mark. Someone in the chat says, where can I get Achromatic Chronicles? It is for sale until January 6th. We're going to do a closeout on one of these channels. I don't know. I put the link. Mazza put the link in the chat. Pick it up. You're going to love this series. Not only, listen, if you want Erik's autograph, pick up a CGC cover. Listen, I'm a CGC guy. That's why I requested to have an all-age book shoved in one of these CGCs. So if they don't sell a lot, it was for me only. You know, I'm just getting one. But we also have a coloring book. We got stress balls that we can cram in that package. We also have T-shirts and art, T-shirts that you can get as well. So pick up the whole thing. You know what you guys really want to do for Christmas? Why don't you just get the I Want It All? Just get everything, all right? just get it all. Just get it all. Don't hold back. Just get it all. You just get everything, and you don't have to pick and choose. So that link is in the chat. But let me get through some. And thank you guys for supporting me, Erik, and Aaron, who I also was on the podcast. Incredible writer for that series as well. Let's get some questions. iCanalist says, "Hail Jay and Erik. Erik, was cool meeting you in Ohio. Looking forward to Green and the Daughter's Revenge." Look at the fan base. Joan says, "Erik wanting posters." What does that mean? Joan, help us out. You mean Erik wants posters, or do you want posters from Erik? Like, let us know. But thank you for being very generous today, Joan. I think you've given over $100. Thank you. English Batcher says, "Is the YouTube channel kid friendly? Can we send kids to it?" Yeah, the Achromatic Chronicles YouTube channel. I did not check mark it for kids only. I left it open so there could be comments and people could ask questions. There will be no nonsense on that channel whatsoever. No, not even adult jokes. We're going to keep it very professional because a lot of schools have been asking for that they might want to get some bulk orders for their classrooms. So I'm like, let me send them to a dedicated channel and they could watch the promos and different things about it. So yeah, it'll be kid friendly. Erik, my grade school age daughter loves drawing. Do you have any tips for her or recommend anything for her to watch or look up to improve her drawing over time?
So when I was doing teaching, future project down the line is I've got a whole curriculum that I want to adopt for homeschoolers. But I developed this into inner city schools because I had a bunch of students that were really troubled, that didn't want to participate, that were very much coming from, they've been held back a few years. So I had to figure out a way to teach and give them a success. And the core of it is work towards creating a picture that somebody who can't draw can understand what it is. So this is the advice I give to for your daughter, is encourage her, whatever it is that she's interested in, to draw. When she can draw it and you know what it is, let's just say she's drawing a shark. If you can tell what it is without asking her, that drawing is a successful piece. That's a win. That's an A. The rest of it is just giving yourself the luxury and the gift of time to develop. That's where you get to the rendering it photoreal or giving it a cool style. That's just time. The hardest part is doing it to where someone can identify it without you telling them what it is. So that's what you should work towards. Another good tip that I love giving my students was teaching them how to trace. So when you get like a sheet of tracing paper, put it over a magazine or an article, don't try to trace the image for what's there. Use it as an opportunity to break that image up into basic shapes. So, take an image of Mickey Mouse, find all the circles that are in there, find the sticks, the lines, what have you. Use the tracing aspect to think through the pieces that make it up. Any piece of anime, shape language, like I mentioned earlier. You can dissect any sort of anime drawing down to its basic shapes. Doing this approach, that'll help your brain learn to think like that. So that when you're looking at a complex object, you can start to break it down into basic shapes, draw the basic shapes, and then build those up in the drawing to get to your finished piece.
I don't understand what that is, but an artist will. An artist will. Also, Samuel gifted a membership to the channel. These unedited versions of the podcast always flip over to memberships eventually, and then the edited version is re-uploaded. So if you're a member, you could go back and watch all the other podcasts and stuff and the guests that we've had on. And look at my man, Film Phoenix, gifted 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you. Merry Christmas, all that stuff. Look at all these gifts. And X-Wing says, I got a boot. But before I go, as a fan of The Daughter's Revenge, without giving anything away, what are you most excited about for this upcoming story?
I can't wait to see how these swords turn out. I've been hearing so much about them.
Yeah, me too.
That's a big thing for me. I love that stuff. I always regretted not taking blacksmithing in college.
I want to see how these swords turn out too, X-Wing. That's the big thing. How the sword's coming along, buddy. Every time he texts me about it, he says it stinks. So watching from Northwest Louisiana, also much respect to Mr. Dinosaur, teaching someone what the can do versus telling someone how to do it is usually followed by that's the only way to do it, correct or not. Art is never, it's so subject, right?
It is
like
it is, but it isn't. So there's 2 ways of looking at this. Like, for my philosophy, I consider art as a 4-letter word, because once you tell a normie something about art, they automatically kind of have this block in their mind that that's something they can't do, they can't understand. Oftentimes they're seeing some sort of disaster hanging in some sort of gallery that's really just an excuse for money laundering that doesn't even have any meaning. Like, if you can walk up to a painting and you don't understand the artist's intent from it, you got to read a little card or they got to tell you what it means. It's a failure. Okay, that's a complete. You're making decoration. That's as far as it goes. But if somebody can, and that's the beauty of comics, is that the art is doing so much of the storytelling. That's what makes it successful. That's how you're communicating. It's a visual communication language, not, it's like when I'm teaching this, it's just like with writing, because you can write your name or a book report. That doesn't mean you're a writer. That doesn't mean you're creating literature. So it's the same thing with art. Just because you can draw doesn't mean you're creating art. You can use drawing to create art, but really what we're talking about is a form of communication that's universal.
Yes.
So that's where I come down. It's like when you're getting into those squishy areas where it's like postmodernism, it's just subjective to what you feel. No, I don't like that at
all. Huge shout out to WDW Pro. If you don't know anything about his channel, I suggest you go find out. It's amazing stuff over there. Thank you for the massive raid earlier. I appreciate you. I reacted to a couple videos one time of what they do in college where they claim it to be art, where people just like throw sand in the air and they're all like, look at all this modern art here. It's like, I don't know. Like, somebody was like making a pot with the side of his face with clay and trying to sell it for $5 million. I look at that stuff and go, somebody actually bought that. I'm doing it. I'm just putting paint on my hands and just throwing it on a board and like 10 million right there. Let's do it.
That's one of those situations that every artist wants to get in, because you've got a sugar daddy over here who will buy your crap for an exorbitant amount of money so that their friends with exorbitant amounts of money will go and buy more of that crap. They get to write off on their taxes because that's considered a donation. They're supporting the arts. So it's really, man. Yeah, no, it's a money laundering scheme. That's all it is.
That's crazy. As we get ready to close, would you have any advice to anyone that wants to get started in any type of art? Do you have Anything that you could give someone that might want to, hey, I've been thinking about, I used to paint a little bit, but I love doing it. Whatever it is, like, is there anything that you would say to anyone that's just getting started, no matter what age they are?
Yeah, I'll give you two things that are. One is the big takeaway from college. I had a professor. I loved the guy a lot. I learned a lot from him. The most important lesson that I learned from him was, though, that no piece of work is ever finished. You just stop before you mess it up. Knowing when to do that, that's where you develop the skill. So that's number one. And number two is don't do this unless you have a passion for it, because there's going to be times where you're not going to feel like it. And I'm talking about professionally. If you want to draw professionally, you got to be able to do this when you don't feel like doing it. You got to be able to push through. You have to have such a drive to do it that you're going to do it when it's not paying the bills. Like, if I'd never heard of Jay, if I'd never, gotten into like the indie comic scene, I would still be doing this for myself at some point, just to get it out of my head as maybe a therapy, a cope, whatever you want to call it. There's a driving passion to do it. If you don't have that, don't try to do this professionally, because you've got to be able to really push through. Like Jay and I have a passion for kids, for storytelling. That keeps the fire going when things don't look good. But outside of that, if you're doing it just to have fun, let yourself have fun with it. Don't take yourself so seriously, and just enjoy the process as much as the result that you want. And give yourself the excuse to the time to get better at it. Don't be sorry on yourself.
That's the whole thing for the Rebellion podcast here. It's rebelling against fears and rebelling against doubts and just living out your passion. So I couldn't agree more. And before we close, if you guys have I keep calling it Twitter, if you have an X account, do us a favor and head over to Erik and follow him on X. Hey, listen, if you're doing a book and you want to like commission a cover, here I am like selling you, or anything like that. He's always, man, you got your DMs open, man. So there you go.
Yeah.
You never know what happened, but or there's other. If you follow his Linktree, there's other things on there as well, and you can't go wrong. Actually, you can't go wrong. And my man, Chewbaccaneer, coming in with 10 gifted memberships to the channel. Holy crap, dude. Thank you so much. You've been very generous this year over here, and I really appreciate it. Seriously, I really appreciate it. And that's going to wrap up. That's going to wrap up another edition of the Welcome to Rebellion podcast. You could listen to this here on YouTube. You could listen on Spotify and Apple, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Make sure you follow my friend Erik, and have a very Merry Christmas. Any final words, sir?
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everybody out there watching this. 2025 is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, man.
Let's enjoy the ride together.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. All right, we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. We hope you were inspired today. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next episode. And welcome to the Rebellion.